This is going to be a video about some of the offensive adjustments that the Ravens made at halftime of their 34-10 win over the Texans. What adjustments were made, who had a role in changing them. It sounds like Lamar was heavily involved, obviously, but not just in the fire and telling guys what they needed to change or do differently, but also had some input on getting the ball out quicker, shorter developing routes to get the ball out of his hands. Look, credit to Texans defense for forcing us into that situation. Have to give them credit for recognizing late first quarter and mid-late second quarter that the blitzes were really giving us trouble. I did think there was times where guys were open, even on two deeper concepts in the first half. OBJ is absolutely wide open on the second play of the game, beat Stingley, who I did not think played to his standard in this game. Lamar on that particular play happens to be reading left to right as opposed to right to left. If he had seen that the first time, I'm pretty sure he would have thrown the football. At the same time that we go to a shorter, quicker passing game in the second half, the run game also starts hitting. Is it a chicken? Is it the egg? Is it the egg, the chicken? Or is it both at the same time? I'm not sure. But look, the Texans had trouble dealing with guys in space, whether it was Likely, Bateman, Flowers, who was open a lot. Actually, more than I even thought in the reaction video, or Justice Hill in the flats. I did think the offensive line played pretty well throughout most of the night. There were certain bad reps. I'll mention four. Kevin Zeitler really had two horrible reps. Daniel Falele gets beat on a 3rd and 11. I just don't think he can be out there on 3rd and long when it's an obvious passing situation against some of the athletes that we're going to face at the end. And then John Simpson, I believe, has a hold. But the bottom line, in some of those blitzes in the first half, you can't block 6 with 5. You can't block 7 with 6. Either the ball needs to be out or the routes need to be changed such that the ball can be out. So give the Texans defense credit for forcing our hand there. I didn't think our offensive line was losing consistently. In fact, I thought Ronnie Stanley played quite well. Tyler Linderbaum played quite well, and the gap, the differential between Morgan Moses and Daniel Falele in pass pro is large. I think Cole Jackson has a video out on Ronnie Stanley's play, so go check that one out. I haven't been able to watch it. I just don't have time. I'm barely able to get this done late Monday night, and the game was played Saturday. But I think that video will probably show a more in-depth look at Ronnie Stanley's play, but I thought he definitely looked strong in the film that I'll show here. Anyway, there was times in the first half where I thought we could have got the ball out quicker. Flowers open early and often. Bateman, I thought, had a nice game. This is a spread offense. There's not usually going to be a guy with 8 catches for 130. This is not the type of offense this is. We have so many guys who can contribute, and Lamar, credit to him, especially on Saturday night, especially seemed content to throw the football to whoever is open. This will be a lengthy video. I'm trying to get this one out as quick as possible, but again, it's Monday night as I record this. There's a lot of good stuff offensively, even early on. We did score 10 points on the opening 3 possessions, and you will see the same dynamic repeat from week 1 against the Texans, whereby Lamar scrambled a couple of times to get first downs, and the Texans countered and started to blitz or bring pressure more. If you remember, Lamar ended the first quarter with a 23-yard scramble. Looking back on it now, it's not surprising to me that they brought 4 5-man blitzes and I think 2 6-man blitzes all in the second quarter. I didn't think our play calls adjusted in the second quarter, and the reason why I was so harsh on Todd Monken was I talked about it in a preview that if Lamar scrambled for a couple of first downs or big gains, DeMeco Ryans and his staff were going to bring more pressure as a response to that. Well, Lamar has a 23-yard scramble to end the first quarter. Certainly no one on the Ravens staff is or should be watching or listening to my videos, but how did they not recognize that that was going to be the Texans' reaction? That was their reaction against us in week 1, and that was their reaction against some of the athletic quarterbacks they faced during the year. In any case, we did adjust during the third quarter. We will get there, but first a handful of our plays from the first half that I thought were notable or worth mentioning. All right, so we'll kick this one off. Second and 6, complete to Flowers against man over the middle. This is the one where if we're reading it from right to left, it's not Lamar's fault. He's probably told to read it from left to right. If we're reading it from right to left, OBJ has Stingley beat badly up here. Stingley's clearly staring in the backfield. Opportunity to get him the football if we're reading it and we're throwing the football now. But Lamar's read the play from left to right, which doesn't surprise me. That's where we've released the back. We were really attacking the Texans to the side where the running back lined up, creating a 3-receiver side with the third guy being a running back. It's also a China in by Flowers that wins, I think, against Jalen Petre. But this right here is what we utilize to great effect, particularly late in the game, and on a key third down conversion to Zay Flowers in the fourth quarter. So China in here, Lamar fading back, hits Zay for a first down. Still first possession, 2nd and 9. So this is 2 plays later, and it's going to be a scramble by Lamar versus zone. Pause it during the play, and you can see again what's happening. You got the running back releasing into the flats. You've got 3 of our receivers over there to the boundary. 3 against 4 for the Texans. Down here we've got 2 against 3. So credit the Texans for playing 4 over 3 and 3 over 2. The problem is it allows Lamar to get out of there and gain 9 yards. Or maybe it was a gain of 8 that they marked a little bit short. Let's see it one more time so you can see Justice Hill's release into the boundary. Just a variation off of snag flat. Likely sitting down on the snag. Hill running out into the flats. We're not running a smash here like we often do. Kolar is doing something else with his route. Lamar's reading that side. I felt like it was intentional that we were going to attack the boundary early when the running back released to that side, and late, in fact. Same drive. First possession is going to be complete to OBJ in zone to the bottom side of the field. It's a 1st and 10. About 11 minutes left in the first quarter. Lamar, a lot of time against a 4-man rush. So why I'm setting that up is because it's a natural reaction that the Texans have shown. Well, they showed it in week 1 against us, and they've shown it against other athletic quarterbacks this year, where if they didn't get pressure and the quarterback started to scramble around, then they were going to bring pressure. And, I mean, it's a natural reaction. End zone angle, same play, so you'll see the pass pro nature of it. A little bit of a play action fake between Lamar and Justice Hill. Ricard pulling to help out on the edge defender. Ton of time. And Lamar sticks this in there between the linebackers to OBJ. I think his only catch for 12 yards. Still first possession, 3rd and 12 now. Going to be complete to Bateman up top. Lamar takes a big shot. It's a nice blitz from the end zone angle. You get a nice idea of what they do. You got a one-on-one up here to the top side with Bateman. Down here, I think, if Lamar was reading this late, you got a chance to get the ball to Zay Flowers underneath later on in the progression. But Lamar's already decided, because he has to, because there's a blitz, to get the ball out to Bateman. I love this throw because he's throwing it before Bateman is ready for the football. There are some people who say, well, Lamar doesn't throw the ball until you're already open. There is a sliver of truth to that. I don't know what percentage it is, but there's times where Lamar will only throw the ball if he already sees that you're open, not recognizing you're going to be open because of the leverage. But look at this stunt. They've pulled Linderbaum away. I think the D-tackle stunted across. Justice Hill's really going to have trouble. If he takes this guy here, then perhaps you got a free rusher off the edge. As it stands, he takes the edge defender, and Lamar gets hit right after throwing the football. Credit to Lamar for being willing to stand in there and deliver an accurate ball to Rashad Bateman for 9 yards on a 3rd and 12, but it gets us back into field goal range, and we go up 3-0. So moving forward, this is 3rd possession. We actually go down and get a touchdown here. 4-man rush, what I would call a split field coverage. I think we're looking for something to pop free up top here. These guys are running through the same funnel. And Lamar scrambles, huge gain. This is last play of the first quarter. I think this is probably right around the time D'Amico Ryans in his headset or someone on the Texans defensive staff said, hey, here we are. We got to start bringing heat. Like I said, I'm pretty sure that was the last play of the first quarter, 23-yard gain. End zone angle, same play. You can see all the space that there is for Lamar to get out of there. Macari's in the game. I do like that we're rotating the tackles. I just feel like Falele's a guy who can't be in there in obvious passing situations. So, first play of the second quarter, second play of the second quarter, excuse me. This is going to be complete to Flowers, right side versus Stingley. I thought Collinsworth or one of the announcers covered it well. He's trying to get out here. He's trying to get to the out, and he's actually starting to win to the top side. So he's got to gear down here, but he can't do it too soon because the Stingley will gear down with him. So he's selling it really hard, and then the change of direction, the stop-start of Zay Flowers wins against Stingley, and you can see Lamar's throwing the football now, none too late. Zay for, I think, 17 yards. End zone angle. This is 3rd and 1, the ensuing play. That one actually gained 10 yards. Gus downhill, 12 personnel, bunch A, compressed formation. You can see all 11 players in the picture, and McCarry and Simpson do a nice job here, if you ask me. I think our propensity to run pin pull pitch has widened these guys up. It's kind of like they're damned if they do, they're damned if they don't, just like Justice Hill earlier. You will see a play later on, a touchdown to Isaiah Likely, where the DN's feet are here, and the point man just pins him down. So it's kind of like we've got plays to utilize no matter what you do. In this case, Will Anderson's widened up, and 48 Christian Harris has widened up. And so look at the window, look at the numbers that we have since these two players have been cut off. I'm absolving our two offensive players and their two defensive players. Look at the numbers that we have in terms of hats to the football and the ball carrier. Pretty daggone cool. We're using the receiver over here to the compressed side, which is OBJ, to help out on Grenard, a defensive end, a badass defensive end at that. So this is another scramble on a 3rd and 5. Again, 3rd possession. And Lamar's going to get out of here on his 3rd and 5 for, I think, 11 yards. I think you do have the opportunity to perhaps, it's a mesh concept, but you're normally mesh having someone sit in here, but the ball is over on the left hash, so Likely is going to take his route a little further over between the top of the numbers and the hash, so it's slightly further over than you would normally see on mesh. But again, the ball's on the left hash, so that might be the variance. But I think there's definitely an opportunity to get the ball here to Likely, but you can't blame Lamar in that you've got a corner sitting here, safety over the top, but Likely is absolutely open as he sits down. Lamar has already decided to take off and scramble, and you can't blame him because he almost gets a touchdown. We did get a touchdown on that drive to go up 10-3. So moving forward, it's where things start to kind of go bad for us. 4th possession, very next possession for the Ravens. 1st and 10, and you're going to get a sack on a 5-man rush by the Texans. Lamar's getting ready to throw this ball to OBJ against man. You've got an in cut from the top side of the screen to OBJ, and Lamar's getting ready to throw it, and the DB's all over him. Additionally, you've got the flat release by the running back. So when Denzel Perryman clears that window and there's a blitzing inside linebacker from that side, Lamar recognizes there's going to be a ton of open space here. Now, other people would say do it in reverse. Let's look for the running back first. Lamar's looking for the bigger play downfield. This isn't a big play. This is still a short throw. But he sees that there's contact here. I still like him to throw the football rather than take a sack because it's man. If it's zone and you're unsure of what you're getting, I understand it. But as it stands, ends up getting sacked by the D-tackle. Really a couple of poor jobs by Kevin Zeitler in pass pro on this drive. Clearly beat by the outside rip from the D-tackle. Lamar nowhere to step up and ends up giving up a sack. He's going to scramble on this 3rd and 11. Zeitler gets absolutely demolished. And Falele is beat around the edge as well. If Lamar had a split second longer, definitely would like to see him get the ball to Likely underneath. Granted, it's 3rd and 11, so the yard to gain is up here. And a completion somewhere in this area down here, closer to the top of the numbers than the hash, isn't really possible because he's already got pressure in his face. Really nothing else is available. I think he was waiting for Aguilar to clear up to this side. Sometimes you have to throw it underneath and take your medicine. It really wasn't available to Lamar because those two guys got their asses kicked. Same play, end zone angle. You can see what 98 does to Zeitler. And Falele is beat quite badly at right tackle. So that was 4th possession. I think they returned the ensuing punt for a touchdown. Perhaps I might have my possessions wrong. We are now on to the 5th possession in the first half. Incompletion to Aguilar on 3rd and 7, where his route kind of takes him and Zay together. Zay is absolutely open against Stingley, but because of the leverage of Desmond King, the nickel defender, Aguilar sits his route down and tries to turn it back to the sideline, and that's where Lamar, to the top side of our screen, and that's where Lamar is throwing the football. Not that far, not as far as I drew the arrow, but to that side of the nickel defender. Lamar's trying to throw it away from the defender and give Aguilar a chance, which he does. It hits him in the hands, but man, if we were cleared out of there with Aguilar in any kind of way, Stingley is 4 or 5 yards behind, and as it stands, nearly gets a very lucky interception because he was beat so badly. I'm not bad-mouthing Derek Stingley. I'm actually a huge fan of the guy, but coverage-wise, he just was not didn't meet the standard to which I had seen film of him in 2023. Let's put it that way. Ball that definitely could have been caught by Aguilar. Lamar is trying to throw it to that side. That's not a ball that he threw away from Aguilar accidentally. He's intentionally throwing it away from the defender, and in this case, Aguilar and Flowers end up being too close together. So a 5-man pressure. This is the very next possession. We'll show you these two from the 6th possession, right before the end of the half. I think you got about 35 seconds left in the half on this one. 1 sack leads to another, and we're really struggling at this point with anything beyond just a 4-man rush. 6-man rush here, give up another sack. Regardless of whose fault it is, we were having the issue. We were not able to protect well, and we weren't able to get the ball out quick. I don't know about you, but I did not expect things to change as abruptly as they did immediately in the second half. This is first possession, third quarter. I believe it will be our 7th. So you got dual stop routes with Aguilar and Zay Flowers. Likely is basically just pulling this defender, this inside linebacker in, kind of shielding him and letting Aguilar sit this thing down in front of the nickel defender. Lamar pump fakes just ever so slightly. I did like that I thought Ronnie Stanley's reps against Barnett were fantastic. Thought a couple of reps against Will Anderson looked pretty damn good as well. He didn't get walked back into the quarterback at all, to my knowledge. I don't know what Linderbaum gave up in terms of pressures or sacks or whatever. I thought he looked pretty solid as well. So this is very next play of the third quarter. And Lamar changes something because likely comes over and then he moves the back. So perhaps he changed the protection. Perhaps he told Gus to do something different. Don't know that he really changed the play. OBJ's trying to stutter and clear out of here. Actually shows hands at one point to make the defender think he's getting the ball, even though he's not, just to force the defender to run with him. And you can see how quickly that we've got them. Likely he's already got the football, and he's gone in terms of he's turning to go upfield. Huge stiff arm. Great play by Lamar to get the ball out to these two guys quickly to our left, both of them to the side of the nickel defender. Short little route against man. And then this is what I really like about Likely and why I'm saying on that 3rd and 11 I referenced earlier, I would like to see the ball thrown to him underneath if Lamar had time, because he can do stuff like this. You can complete it at 3 or 4 or 5 yards depth to Isaiah Likely, and he can still get you 11 yards because he breaks tackles. He's difficult to bring down. And then even if you are in the vicinity, he can just stiff arm your ass into the ground. Again, this is 7th possession. And this is one of my favorite throws by Lamar on this day. Now, granted, it goes through Jalen Petre's arms. Okay, so there's an element of us being fortunate here. Don't get me wrong, but this is where Lamar is throwing it. Number 1, number 2. Again, look at the release by the running back. So we've got 3 into the boundary: running back, tight end, and Flowers. So on the release by Justice Hill into the boundary, Lamar knows that you've got a blitzing safety and a Mike linebacker turned to the field because they're trying to get 4 over 3 conceptually. To the field, it's man. So Lamar lets the first slant Aguilar slide through and then hits Bateman underneath. Boom, wide open underneath against Nelson. I thought that was a matchup that we could have gone to 2 or 3 or 4 more times on the day. But like I said before, this is a spread offense. This is the nature of Todd Monken's offense with the Ravens, is that there's going to be a lot of guys with 3 or 4 or 5 targets, and not a whole lot of guys with 10 or 11. It's very rare. I love that we utilize 3 to the boundary to provide more space to the field. Let me put it that way. Now, this next one, it's a 22 personnel. Oh, end zone angle of that one. My apologies. You can see Petre, and I'll pause it so you can see the ball go through his hands. I'm sure you watched the game live, so you saw it. It's pretty unbelievable how close Petre came to making 2 game-changing plays on back-to-back snaps. In fact, goes through his arms. Bateman able to secure it, set us up there with a 1st and 10. 22 personnel. This has been around in the Ravens playbook since 2019. Seam releases. Now, some would say Lamar's got to throw the ball earlier, so Petre's unable to recover. Well, the problem with that is you've got 2 linebackers in the window of Lamar trying to throw it to Likely. So, yes, Likely indicated throw it up high. Cool, and I agree with him. But in terms of the timing, Petre basically passing off Kolar to the safety and peeling back and almost making an amazing interception. Yes, the ball is, quote, late to get to Likely, such that Petre can't make that play. But there's guys in the window, so Lamar can't just gun that thing out there. I don't know that there's necessarily a pace where he could have thrown this thing earlier without it being too far out in front of Likely. Hopefully I said that in a way that makes sense. Same exact play, same exact side of the field in the red zone as a touchdown that Mark Andrews had against Washington in 2020. Nick Boyle had a catch against the Colts in 2020. And I believe Likely had 1 catch on this concept last year for about 16 or 18 yards that didn't go for a touchdown. But almost an amazing play on back-to-back snaps by Petre. Same play, end zone angle, 22 personnel. My apologies. This is the QB draw from the end zone angle. Very next play, it's a 2nd and 10 from the 15-yard line. Everybody talks about John Simpson getting a pancake here, and that's true because you've got a switch here by the D end and the D tackle. So these are things we struggled with a lot in 2022 and to some extent this year in 2023. And the fact that we're able to execute this on the fly on a QB draw, design QB draw, because you can see Linderbaum working out to Petre. Lamar just cuts off of it. I mean, he's just being an athlete at that point. Great call. I don't know why there's so many people who complain about plays like this. Lamar only threw for 150. Lamar this, Lamar that. It's football. It's a football play where you're creating an 11-on-11 situation. And in fact, I would say this is damn near 12-on-11. When you look at the numbers that are created on some of these plays, this quarterback draw, I think, is the most obvious example. Why wouldn't you want an athletic quarterback who can do these things? Why wouldn't you want to have the ability to call that on a 2nd and 10 and score from 15 yards out? Give the defense some other stuff to account for in between the hashes. I don't know. Maybe my experience is just too limited and I don't have the broad perspective that a lot of people do who talk about NFL quarterbacks who have to be this or have to be that. All right, so this is Bateman late on a dig route coming across the field. This is first play of the 8th possession. We really got the run game going on this drive. I'm not going to belabor talking about the run game too much. You got a pull by Simpson to get out here in front. Almost reminds me of Rashad Bateman's touchdown against the Jets last year in Week 1, 2022 Week 1, with the back to Lamar's right, max protection. Here, Lamar kicking out to the right and some type of vertical route here trying to release up the field. There's a middle-of-the-field safety in this case, so Zay's not going to bring that route into him. Whereas in Bateman's case, I believe there was no middle-of-the-field safety, so it was a too-high safety structure, so Bateman ended up getting open. Lamar knows I don't have this. Stanley's deposited Barnett on the ground, and Lamar has all day to come back to Bateman. Throw maybe is a little bit low, but I wonder if he's trying to protect Bateman on the play. 8th possession is the one where we go this QB boot on 4th and 1. Stanley out in front. Worked against the Lions for a touchdown. If you remember, their D tackle ran with the guard and or the running back. A little bit dangerous because you're pulling the guard, Simpson, around, and you're running Ricard out to make it look like power, basically, which is our patented short yardage play on 4th and 1. Lamar puts the ball out there, and 94 goes with the back, Gus. Lamar keeps it. Huge play, brilliant stuff from Todd Monken and Lamar Jackson. Love the ball fake as well, getting his hand out there to show the football in that high leverage situation, 4th and 1, and then take off. I don't know whether that's 5th gear for him or not, but his 3rd or 4th gear is pretty good too. 3rd and 2 here in that same 8th possession. I love this play. I love the leverage that's created, the release by Bateman. Look, it's a great play by Steven Nelson, who unfortunately got hurt on this play. It's a great job by Nelson to get contact such that Hill ends up almost getting flipped over. Bateman's release is good because he's getting in the window of this defender if this defender's trying to take over Justice Hill. Lamar's already got the football out. We're not waiting, hanging around for anything to happen. Lamar may have done a lot of hollering, cursing, and redirecting at halftime. Someone went to him, however, and said, hey, throw it to the first read. And so here's what I mean by that. Remember the sack that I talked about in the first half where OBJ was on the end cut? Lamar's getting ready to throw the football, and he chooses not to throw it, takes a sack. Fine. OBJ was in tight coverage. I got no problem with it. If that play happens in the 3rd quarter or the 4th quarter, I think Lamar throws it out to Justice Hill in the flats. That's my point. Somewhere along the line, there was some coaching or conversation that occurred as well that was like, hey, let's just get the ball to our guys. I'm not saying that Lamar was at fault for those situations in the first half, but there was clearly a difference in what where he was throwing the football, how quickly he was throwing it, and which read he was going with. Basically, more willing to throw to underneath stuff immediately. Okay, so you've got the touchdown pass to Likely, which apparently Michigan ran in the national title game this year. So you've got 2 Harbaugh brothers who both used this play on offense, and this one's been in our offense since 2021, to my knowledge. This is a Harbaugh play, if you ask me. They're both pointing. It looks like they're pointing at the point man. Jalen Petre is the guy who just takes off here. I've never seen this be a quarterback sweep. I've never seen Lamar keep this such that it ends up being a quarterback sweep. You would potentially have some number issues if these are your only 2 guys in pursuit. If these are your only 2 guys in pursuit and Cashman, and let's say Petre had stayed back here to help out with Likely. It appears to me as if Derek Stingley knows that this pass is coming. Lamar, perfect placement, if you ask me, putting it on the back shoulder. It's a tough job for Derek Stingley because, A, Likely plays through contact. I've decided the outside guys who are going to run the route, and whether it's Andrews or Likely, they are absolutely coached to run into the first, second level defender lined up inside of them. In this case, it's an inside linebacker. Likely smacks him in the mouth. Here, they're absolutely coached to do this, to muddy up the read for any secondary players. In this case, Stingley is also kind of jammed up with a teammate. After Likely plays through contact, Stingley grabs him. Lamar's looking for where to throw the football. Think about the Saints. The throw was here. Andrews against the Broncos 2021. Pretty much the same path I just drew, except deeper down the field. This one, Lamar throws kind of back in towards the numbers, in a line with the numbers, in between the N and the S, I guess, in Ravens. And a brilliant job by Likely to go get it. It's a great football play. Got great leverage. Remember I talked about earlier the outside linebacker, Will Anderson, on the 3rd and 1 to run play by Gus Edwards. Same exact formation here, guys. Bunch A. Now, it's not 3rd and 1, okay? But look where the D end is now. He's inside, so that just sets him up for the easy pin down by Kolar. If the D end was here, let's say his feet was wider, then now it's a little bit tougher block for Kolar, and the edge isn't going to be so easily secured by the Ravens because your edge defender isn't pinned down totally. As it is, you got 3 guys forming a shield out in front of Lamar. A lot of congestion for Likely, who's strong enough and motivated enough to play through that contact. It almost looks like Likely even throws his hands up, like, hey, throw it high. I'll let it run back one more time, and you can see it. It's a great football play. I don't know if other content creators for the NFL specifically have gone over this play yet. Hopefully not, so this one can run through and at least you guys can see it. Right around here, in a split second here. I think you see Likely kind of throw his hand up to Lamar right now, telling him, I mean, he's being guarded by Derek Stingley, who very easily could have been an all-pro. This guy's got so much confidence. He's like, hey, throw it up. And Lamar does, and Likely goes and gets it. Special talent. Likely, obviously, Lamar is too, and he's first and foremost what allowed us to change the game in the second half. Man, this was a fun video for me to do. Clearly went on long, being a 30-minute video. Let me know if you thought it was too long or I belabored some of the points. I picked 16 or 18 plays to go over that I thought illustrated how we tried to attack the Texans' defense. 3 into the boundary with the running back, forcing them to dedicate another player to that side, opening up some space to the field, which I thought was, we had some instances where things were available in the first half. Pressure, Lamar reading in the opposite direction. We weren't able to get those things done. And everything worked in the third quarter on. Everything. 24-0, third and fourth quarter against a damn good Texans team that's really talented. I thought we wore their defense down as well. Some of their players started to go down or go out, in fact, for injuries. I appreciate you guys' time, man. Let me know what you think of the video in the comment section. If you think other Ravens fans would enjoy this film study look at what apparently was a really fiery, passionate speech by Lamar at halftime, and a tactical shift by our coaches and or Lamar as well. If you think other Ravens fans will enjoy this video, then please consider grabbing a link, sharing it out on social media to help this content get more reach.